Hello. Today is Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018. I'm Fran Duvall, the host for today. And our first guest today is Lynn Keefe, who is the Director of General Services. Director? Supervisor?
Director.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I can't believe that already. I mean, has it been a month since we were together?
It really doesn't seem like it.
Honestly, that axiom that time flies is true.
I believe it more and more every day. Everything my parents told me seems to be true. So you're right, 30 days does pass by quickly, and I think it's because there's so much going on.
Yeah, your department is probably the busiest.
Well, we think that, but I think probably if we talk to any department, they'll tell you the same thing. But there is a good deal going on, and that's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to review some of the things that are happening in case folks don't get around to all the neighborhoods. So windows and door replacement. So we're into the third year of this project, which that in itself seems amazing.
That seems amazing. Yeah.
But we are moving into neighborhood 3 and moving through. So I know folks have had questions about timing, and just to remind everyone that you will get direct communication. You may see something that says they're in your building, and just because your neighbor across the hall had theirs done doesn't necessarily mean you are next. Mm-hmm. So you can always question that, but know that you will get ample time and advance notice before mm-hmm. they do your windows.
Yeah, I have to clean my windowsills off.
And they want your help, for those things that are precious to you. So they will make sure that you have notice. But because of the install process and how they use the boom lifts and location,
sure.
They will give you that communication. We're also doing the sprinkler pipe retrofit, and that only affects about 60 apartments, and we are working through in groups of 3 to 4 at a time, mm-hmm. and you will again have specific information if that affects you, and they'll give you all of the detail on what that looks like, and you'll have plenty of notice. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm pleased to say the new elevator in Village Square is progressing, and they have begun that work. We've talked about it for so long, I don't even have to say soon. I think for some of our retired engineers and folks who like to monitor that process, it may not be as exciting to watch as some of our outdoor projects, in part because of its location. But
so you won't have a fence with holes in it that we can look through?
Probably not. So a lot of the work will be, on the back side of the building where the
sure.
elevator is going to be.
Sure.
But because of its location, they've had to develop a pathway around the back of the building because it's really too much for a regular crane to do, and we don't want to block the entrance to the building. So I'm still told that the new elevator will be operational by the end of summer.
Wow.
So,
well, that's going to be a great boon.
So when you dine in Woodland Skies, you can kind of check the progress and see what it looks like. We still have egress, emergency egress from the theater. For folks who may have been concerned, we of course have to maintain all of that for safety. Right. We are also in the second phase of the bridge project. I've heard lots of commentary on that's the bridge from Town Center to Hampton Place, reinforcing the strapping on that floating floor, mm-hmm. and soon they will be replacing the HVAC units that are along the glass there. So that will be in the next couple of months. So that's a part of that project as well. And hopefully once that's done, folks will take note of the improvement. Those units are a bit undersized, and when we have those extreme temperatures, either really hot or really cold, you definitely feel it mm-hmm. in that area. So more to come. Although I think folks probably haven't been out to their gardens or tending to their flowers as much because of the weather that we've been having, mm-hmm. Grounds is still busy. Our contractor, Brightview, is on site today trying to take advantage of a break in the rainy season. And just a reminder for folks who in the past may have called John St. Louis directly, because we are still working to replace that position, and we have Dave who is working very hard and in support of some of our maintenance, call General Services directly and they will help manage who's going to respond and to make sure that Dave gets the information.
Okay.
Dave's out a lot, so calling directly may not be the most efficient. So call General Services like you would for anything else.
And they'll do like a work order or whatever.
They'll do a work order, they'll call out depending on the nature of what you're requesting.
Sure, okay.
So with that, just a mention about grounds. Obviously, when it's rained as much as it has, all of our contractors get a little bit behind, but we see that sun is in the forecast, so we trust that they'll be out and able to catch up a little bit in the coming weeks. The Verizon Tower. I don't know if that's anything you've kept an eye on, but
I've seen it.
You've seen it, okay. So the Verizon Tower is operational. What folks are really eager about is when the other carriers are going to have their equipment. And I don't have a timeline yet. We have been told that T-Mobile will be the first, and as soon as we have a date, I will let
and so they will contract with Verizon to use that tower?
They lease space on that tower. That's kind of the way it works.
Yeah.
They share space. I had a resident say, well, AT&T said they don't share towers. We have been told that AT&T will lease space on this tower. There are some towers Verizon owns, AT&T owns towers, and they lease space on each other's tower. And so as soon as we have those dates, we will let you know so that folks can plan. Because there are some folks who don't have Verizon, and they probably don't get that great of coverage, especially in certain areas.
Sure.
Concrete repair and striping. The vendor has been, the RFP has gone out. Our team has been working with them, and as soon as we have a schedule in place, we'll begin communicating that. We try to minimize the impact to parking, but
yeah, I noticed where my parking space is, very quickly after they painted the red, it was very quickly, it started washing away or wearing out or erasing or something.
It probably depends on the use in that area, especially with salt and snow removal.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Right, so as soon as we have that timing, though, we'll communicate that. Work continues in the hallways in Neighborhood 1, the life cycle, which is new paint and carpet and lighting. We are working diligently over in the kitchen in Garden Ridge and working to also restart the fireside kitchen project. So working closely with dining to minimize the impact to residents and to get those projects done as quickly as possible. So there will be much more detail coming in the months to come. A reminder about the changes in our community shuttles. So this was a process that our management worked closely with the Resident General Services Transportation Subcommittee, and they collected data over a few months to look at how to make the most use of, improve the timing of the shuttle, because residents sometimes say it takes too long. And so we are in the midst of a 90-day trial where they are stopping only at the clubhouses. And that intent is so that you can get the shuttle moving a little bit more quickly. So we've had some feedback, both positive and negative, and they will continue to assess. But I just would remind folks, please don't ask the drivers to, flag them down in the road and say, please stop, or ask to get off on areas where there's not a stop. They're told not to do that, and while they want to be very respectful, it's a safety concern as well.
Okay.
So with repositioning coming to town center, I met last week, perhaps, maybe the week before.
Yeah, time flies.
Time flies. To talk about what we call the enabling projects, and these are some of the movement that needs to occur before some of the repositioning projects can occur. Probably the two that we've heard most about from residents is the treasure chest move and the resident computer lab. And so I met with that group, and I'll be sharing similar information at the next coffee with the exec team, so that will be in June. And we'll be looking at all of the things that need to occur in anticipation of it. A bit of a domino effect.
Yes.
So I'll have more information to come, but do rest assured that for the treasure chest and the resident computer lab, the spaces have been approved by the resident leadership. They're pleased with the options and look forward to that. So we'll share much more detail around those and all of the others.
Yeah.
The end of this month, we're going to have the new T-coil installed. So the T-coil is a listening assist device that will enhance the hearing for those with that device within their hearing aid or that use, I think we call it the pocket talker, that are available for loan in those venues. So
Yeah, in the theater, the chapel, etc.
correct.
Yeah.
So we'll have 2 days where it's closed for that install, the 31st and June the 1st. So look for that information. It may affect if you've got particular pickleball, but it'll be a marked improvement. And then we'll look at how that works and potentially expanding it to others.
So we're talking about May 31st?
May 31st and June 1st.
Okay.